On today's Chicago Bears Now episode, Ryan Poles acknowledges that the Bears got some big decisions to make regarding their roster this offseason. And this week at the NFL Combine is really kind of where that begins. I want to play a clip from Poles' press conference yesterday of him talking about this and then start to explore what some of those big decisions might be. Let's hear from the general manager.
It's really tough, and I know I've talked about those tough decisions in the past. I think what changes is when you win, bonds and relationships get deeper. And knowing that right now we sit over the cap, like we got to make some decisions, if that's cuts, if that's trades. There's real relationships of people that gave it up for the Chicago Bears to advance our organization, and they may not be able to stay. And that sucks, to be honest with you. But it's what makes this league beautiful. It's why we're all here. It constantly gets shuffled up and moved around, and it's the challenge of putting together the best puzzle you can with different pieces. So really difficult, but that's what we signed up for. You got to make those tough decisions, and they are business decisions. You kind of try to take your emotions out of it and do what's best for the organization.
Look, at the end of the day, this is business. It's not personal. It's not about emotions. It's not about getting overly attached. And obviously that's easier said than done because you see the work these players put in. You see the time and effort and energy spent, and you're coming off this fun, emotional season. But for the first time as the team's GM, you feel like you can contend and you can build a sustainable winner here. And listen, that's what tough decisions have to be made. It was easy tearing down the roster. It was easy taking on dead money early on in his tenure. Hey, we're building for the future. Well, now the future's here. We're here and now. You got Caleb Williams. You got Ben Johnson. You got these young pieces in place. Now you got to decide which pieces are part of this future moving forward and which pieces aren't here are you trying to bring here to go chase a Super Bowl, not only next year, but be in that kind of sustainable winner mode for the foreseeable future. So let's start to dive into some of these big decisions that have to be made. And we kind of got a little taste of that earlier today. They're going to cut or trade Tremaine Edmonds. Brad Biggs, I want to give him kudos on the report here. He had it first saying that the Bears are allowing Tremaine Edmonds to seek a trade. Talked about his contract, so on and so forth. We've broken that down at length. The Bears say $15 million if they cut or trade him. And clearly putting this out there, they're telling teams, hey, we're looking to move on, but you throw us a late day 3 pick, he's yours, because when all said and done, if we have to, we'll probably cut him. Because freeing up the money is the key here for Chicago. Could you get a 5th-round pick? I was told maybe that's a possibility, but not really sure. I would think more like a 6th or a 7th or even a pick swap if a trade materializes at all. But Tremaine Edmonds is a solid player, so if a team wanted to trade for him and extend him to lower his cap hit for 2026, that is certainly a possibility. But I do think he will be gone, no matter what. I don't think we're going to wake up March 10th and be like, well, team didn't trade for him, so we're just going to keep him. Like, no, you're going to have to bite the bullet and cut him if that does not happen. So I think kind of step one is underway here. It's not finalized, but the Bears told us today that Tremaine Edmonds is not a part of their future. All right, guys, thank you guys so much. We crossed 158,000 subscribers here on the channel. I'd love to get to 160 by the start of NFL free agency. So subscribe if you haven't already. We're pumping out so much content this week. Shorts, videos. This is my 3rd video of the day, by the way. Put this one out earlier when the Tremaine Edmonds breaking news dropped. I dive deeper into that, so if you want more angles on that, go check out that video when you subscribe and go to the content tab. We've got this video out from earlier this morning. Could the Bears make a blockbuster move, which we'll dive into on this video as well, but deep specifics on Trent Williams and Maxx Crosby, what's going on with them, including an insider dropping a little nugget to us at the Combine regarding Maxx Crosby. Can't find it anywhere else. Subscribe to the channel. We are here for you. Okay, obviously, I think the second domino after Tremaine is DJ Moore. You're not going to cut him, but are you going to keep him? And if you are you restructuring him, or is he playing for $28.5 million on a cap hit, or are you trading DJ Moore? We talked a little bit about this yesterday, and I think the way Poles has talked, I was leaning toward that sounds like a trade to me. Well, here was more from Ryan Poles. He hopped on with ESPN 1000 and said, it's hard to tell if DJ Moore will be on the roster in 2026. We're trying to put all those pieces together. We're over the cap right now. We got to get under. There's some different things we can do to create cap space. We have to listen to the league and things that come out of this week in terms of if teams are interested in any of our players. That puts us in position to reconfigure a little bit. This is when you have to take the emotions out of it and put your business hat on, which is what he kind of alluded to in that clip we played earlier as well. I continue to say, based on what I've heard from Poles and the way the specific language he has used and the way he has said these things the last couple of days when asked about DJ Moore, I think a trade is coming. He could just come out and be like, we have no interest in trading DJ Moore. He's not doing that. He's not saying they dislike DJ Moore. I do think they like him. They've said they like him. They value him. But again, it's a business. He's making $28 million. You have Luther Burden, Rome Dunes, Colston Loveland, guys that need to continue to ascend and be parts of this offense, and they don't cost nearly as much money. If you can move DJ Moore, save the $16.5 million, that helps you acquire a pass rusher potentially. That helps you have more flexibility moving forward on this football team. So just the two players we've talked about right here, big saving moves. You cut or trade Tremaine Edmonds, you save $15 million. You restructure DJ Moore, which I would not do because you're kicking money down the roads up to $16.8 million. If you trade DJ Moore, $16.5 million, and you kind of wipe your hands clean of it, he's mostly off your books after 2026. Again, I'm not going to freak if they restructure DJ. I would understand it to an extent, especially if the trade offers just aren't there. But then you're just kicking that down the road, and you're facing an even a larger number against the cap next year, and then what do you do, especially if his production continues to kind of just be middling in a crowded pass catcher's room. So I think he's getting traded. I said yesterday I'd give it an 80% chance. I'll go 85 now. I don't think it's a guarantee. I know Tremaine Edmonds is not going to be on this football team next year. I think there's a chance DJ is, but it's 3.5 smoking J's that he is on a different team in 2026, in my opinion. More big decisions to discuss as Ryan Poles has a busy few weeks ahead of him here, but got to tell you about our awesome sponsor, Ethos. Look, life insurance, it's kind of a heavy topic, right? It's not fun to discuss, but it's important, especially if you're like me. If you got a family, you got a wife, you got a kid, you got multiple kids. Thinking about their livelihoods is so important, and it made it easier to discuss life insurance for me personally, and I'm so glad I found Ethos as my life insurance provider. I got a lot of responsibility at home. If something happens to me, there's big consequences, mortgage payments, tuition, everyday bills. Those things don't just go away. If something happens to me, life could throw you curveballs, and it's best you stay prepared. With Ethos, you can get life insurance in as little as 10 minutes. They have no medical exams, just a few easy health questions online. You can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. You can get up to $3 million in coverage, and some policies are as low as $30 per month. You can literally get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage with Ethos. So help your family with life insurance through Ethos today. Get your instant free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That is ethos.com/NFL Daily. It's Ethos. Application times and rates may vary. Okay, next up. I think the Bears, and Poles has talked a little bit about this, and I might do a full video on this specifically on today's show. But what path do you take? Do you chase that big blockbuster type of move like a Maxx Crosby, or do you go with more of a volume approach and try to get 3 or 4 contributors, mostly on defense, maybe 1 on offense, right? So you look at some of the splash moves, just 3 examples. And when I say splash, big name, big money, big impact. Maxx Crosby in a trade, Trey Hendrickson in free agency. Unclear how much he'll cost, but want to mention him there. And then Trent Williams, if he were to free up. We talked about that. I know that's offensively, but talk about a hell of a stopgap left tackle if he were to free up from San Francisco. Adam Schefter had that reporting, and I broke that down in further detail on an earlier video. Go check it out. Or do you go with a volume approach where, maybe you get a Khalil Mack back here in Chicago, $12 to $15 million bucks. Maybe you trade a middle round pick for a Kayvon Thibodeau. Maybe you trade a day 3 pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick, or maybe you sign Kevin Byard and Cam Curl or something like that. Maybe Cam Jordan agrees to come to Chicago and reunite with Dennis Allen, $10 million bucks, something like that. The point is, I'll be very curious to see what their approach is. Do they go with the big name splash to try and be that multiplier, or it's hey, we got key pieces healthy, hopefully next year, Kyler Gordon, Jalen Johnson, bring back Kevin Byard, and then add 3 to 4 solid players around them and then go hit on a couple of draft picks. Like, is that the approach? Or again, hey, if we can get Maxx Crosby, let's go get Maxx Crosby. I'll be very curious to see what avenue they take. Some of that is just purely going to be like, who's available, right? Like Maxx Crosby may ultimately not end up being available. Trent Williams, more likely than not, will stay in San Francisco. How many teams are going to compete for Trey Hendrickson? Is it going to be $30 million per year like The Athletic thinks it might? If it is, they might just bow out and say that's not worth it. So some of that will just be market dependent, but if all these options are available, what door do you walk through? That's something that the Bears have got to kind of figure out and tier out in terms of what they think is best for the present and the future. Should the Bears make a blockbuster move if it is available? When I say that, I mean big money, north of $20 million per year, if not more, for a big name player a blue chip type of talent. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Would you go all in with that move, or would you add just some solid players to this nucleus you already have? I think it's fair to discuss either path when it comes to that. Okay, and then other internal decisions. We kind of just alluded to Kevin Byard and Brisker being options to bring back. There hasn't been a lot of Brisker buzz, so that would surprise me at this point, but you never know. What about a Cole Kmet? I think he's back. I expect him back. I think an extension is more likely than a trade or a cut, but you do free over $8 million with the trade or a cut. What if some team shocked you and threw you a third-round pick? I don't think that's happening. I expect him to be here almost no matter what, but that's obviously a guy who's been brought up. We've discussed it, 12 personnel, 13 personnel. We know Ben Johnson runs a lot of it. He's a gritty blocker. He's still a reliable pass catcher. He's still only 26, 27 years old. I think an extension to lower that cap hit is more likely than a flat-out trade or cut. Okay, DeAndre Swift. I would say he's more likely back than not, but I'm not as confident or certain as I am on Cole Kmet. You save $7.5 million if you cut or trade him. You're probably only doing that if a surprise back you just love becomes available or is within your price range of what you're willing to pay. What if the Seahawks let Kenneth Walker hit the open market and it's only $10, $11 million per year? Would you do that? I mean, I think you'd consider it because cutting Swift or trading him saves $7.5. If you can get K9 for 10, 11, it's only a few extra million per year, and you could backload it, and the cap hit could actually be lower than Swift for 2026, potentially, which is currently $8.8 million. So that's a potential one to watch. My gut tells me he'll be back. 65, 70% he's back, but I do think there's a world where they go in a different direction to pair with Kyle Monangai. I don't think there's a world where Nashawn Wright is back. I'd be surprised by that. I do think, keep an eye on this. I've heard some rumblings about potentially adding a corner. Now, who is that in free agency? I don't think bringing back Nashawn Wright is that guy, but there could be some guys out there. Would you go after a Cordell Flott with the Giants? Could you reunite Dennis Allen with Alontae Taylor with the Saints? Both those guys are set to be free agents, so I think that is on the table. I think it would depend on cost and also how do they feel about Tyreek Stevenson? Do they feel comfortable with him as their second outside corner next year? Do they feel confident Jalen Johnson's going to be healthy and be that guy we've come to know and love next season? If they're not, I could see them adding an addition at that position. I just don't think Nashawn Wright will be back to be that player unless the market is just way different for him than what we expect it to be. And then lastly, and we hit this briefly earlier in the Tremaine Edmonds episode, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, is this subliminal messaging? Is this something tangible or not? Tweeting out Al Harris University, a couple of photos with the Bears DB coach. Is that a, hey, don't forget about me, Bears, I'd love to be back? Or is that a signal to the fans like, hey, there's positive talks that I could be back? Or is he just bored on Twitter? I don't know. You never know with these things from these athletes, but I've said it with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Really nice addition midseason last year. I thought, he kind of hit a wall and didn't play great down the stretch. But again, if it's 1 year, $4.5 million, come back, be that, versatile chess piece in the secondary, a little nickel, a little safety, I'm in on that. But the price has to be right. That's not a guy you could afford to overpay, especially when Poles has said, hey, we're looking to get faster on defense. I don't think C.J. Gardner-Johnson is getting faster at this point in his career. So that's kind of a let's see what the market says type of move, I would guess. All right, there you go. Lots of stuff continuing to fly in from the NFL Combine. We'll get you guys caught up tomorrow on a little Combine meetings tracker. We'll throw that into an episode, so stay tuned for that. But also, follow me on social media. We're posting clips from the Combine from some of these prospects who are meeting with the Bears. Other shorts on YouTube Shorts and on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, at HGramNFL. Facebook as well, Harrison Graham Chat Sports. Search me there. You'll find me, or go to facebook.com/HGramNFL. Our content is everywhere. Please give us a follow on any of these platforms you personally use. I would greatly appreciate it. Helps us grow, helps me grow. You guys are the best. Thanks again for 158,000 subs. Bear down, and we'll see you soon.